Hello and welcome. Five, four, three, two, one. Hello and welcome. I believe we were put on this earth to serve, and that includes learning and growing. I remember when I was in kindergarten, this is probably a story that was told to me. I don't know that I actually remember it, that I loved to read. I had parents who were teachers, and so I probably learned to read early, and I would sit underneath the teacher's desk with books, and I loved to read. And that taught me that I can always be learning, I can always be growing. And that created a passion in me around books. So I challenge you to figure out how you learn best. Do you like to read? Or do you prefer to listen? It's so awesome that we have audibles these days. Or do you like to watch? Or even do you like to get your hands on things? Well, because I learn best by reading myself, I apparently like to write books. And so we've got our 11th book coming out. And I'm so excited to announce that Busting the Scarcity Mindset is going to be available for pre-order on 3/25/25. And that means that you can access this book the second that it goes on to Kindle. We're so excited to share this with you. As always, it takes a community to raise a child. Well, it takes a community to write a book. And so I have with me co-author Kristen Huggins. Her company is called Joyful Communications. And when I was looking for the next person to help me with the next book, this was about a year and a half ago, I knew of Kristen. She was somebody that I had been in touch with for quite some time. And I looked at her website. And not only did I love the term of her company, Joyful Communications, I also loved that she had her Kolbe profile, Kolbe. If you don't know that, check that out, Kolbe.com. Her strengths profile, discover your strengths from the Clifton Strengths Finders capabilities, and some other things that just immediately spoke to me about her as a writer. And so Kristen and I are bringing you Busting the Scarcity Mindset. Now, on the next few live streams, I'm going to be covering specific tips from sections of the book, and I'm actually going to work backwards. So today's tips are going to come from the 9th chapter, which is on the metaphysical economy. I remember I was with a client just recently. We were going through a whole bunch of things that needed to be done. The attorney was on the phone with us. There was an investment advisor on the phone with us, and there was this long list of stuff. And I shot him a quick email afterwards. These are the 3 things that you need to do. And so that's a style of mine that is very blunt sometimes and very specific, very to the point. I tend to be a very practical person. And so with Kristen, we've written our book that way. There's lots of stories in each chapter. And then at the end are very specific tips. So what I'm going to be sharing with you on these live streams are some of these tips. Now, back to chapter 9, again, the metaphysical economy. Interesting term, right? So money, a very physical thing, at least still, that could change. And obviously something that impacts all of us. Now, I don't necessarily think that money is everything. Nevertheless, it impacts everything that is important to us. And so our chapter on the metaphysical economy causes us to think about busting the scarcity mindset around money specifically. Metaphysical implies thinking. And so as it relates to our dollars, what are we thinking? Are we coming at the dollars that are in our life from a scarcity mindset? You know, when you look at 2 swans or 2 ducks on the lake, or it could be 1 or 10, and they're just gliding along on the water, do you know what's going on underneath? Of course you do. They're paddling like crazy. Well, can we be like that in our own metaphysical economies? In other words, on the outside, can we be calm and purposeful and have our breath settled so that we can really be present and serve, while we may inside be nervous, we may be feeling like we're pedaling like crazy with our feet underneath the water, that's an okay space. And if we just acknowledge that in the thinking realm or the mental realm, then we can be okay with life, right? Because I know as I've gone through my life, I've had all kinds of challenges, just like you have. It could have been relationship challenges, it could have been monetary challenges, it could have been legal challenges. Well, how did I bust the scarcity mindset through all those? I'll tell you one specific example that we've got on chapter 9, which is to take a moment and dig for the good. So, even in the face of negative information, even in the face of, for example, walking into a restaurant and expecting there to be good service, but then realizing that it's not so good that particular time, what do we do? Well, we can sit there as a family or as a couple or even to ourselves and complain about the service that's going on in the restaurant, or we can just stop, take a moment, find something to appreciate. Maybe it's that, you know what, we're actually going to get food that we didn't have to fix ourselves. Maybe it's that we're in the building and it's raining outside like crazy and we're protected from the rain. Maybe it's the fact that that waitress that we would really like to be at our table is actually doing the best that she can, or the gentleman over here that's maybe managing or running the show is doing the best that he can. Doesn't matter female, male. It's just who are the humans and are they doing the best that they can? And if they're not, maybe we need to turn our focus somewhere else, turn our focus inside, turn our focus to the people that are with us, to dig the good out of what is going on. This is how we bust the scarcity mindset. So at bustingscarcitymindset.com, you can go put your name in for pre-orders. We are working on live streams. Why? Because we want to share this message. We want to get this message out into the world. All of my other books have been for Americans. One of them did get rewritten for Canadians, but nevertheless, because I write about financial things, it's typically an American thing that I'm writing about, the way that money works in America. But the way that our thinking works worldwide. So at bustingscarcitymindset.com, you can put your name in to be alerted when the pre-orders are ready so that you can get the bonuses. And I'm so excited about the bonuses. Kristen and I have prepared for you things that are not in the book, things that some of them had to get cut because we wanted the book to be a certain length. Some of them we created very specifically for you as a pre-order reader. And the book is going to just be available on Kindle at first because we're taking some extra time with the physical copy to get some of the calculators from Truth Concepts in there. Now, Truth Concepts is my husband's company. It's where we prove numerically and mathematically all things around personal finance. Why is that inside Busting the Scarcity Mindset book? Because, as stated earlier, money affects everything that is important to us. And so it's very important that we work around on our mindset about money. It's very important that we get our thinking in alignment with how we want our lives around money to be. And because we can focus only on that we control what's going on up here. So that mindset that falls into scarcity, mine falls into scarcity too, sometimes numerous times during the day. Well, what do? I stop. I dig for the good. So again, what do? I stop. Maybe it's just for a moment. Maybe it's just to take a breath. My intellectual property Sherpa, Tony D'Angelo, started a meeting with, hey, can we just take a moment to take some breaths and to get super purposeful about what we're doing? So again, these live streams are there to get the word out about our 11th book on Amazon, Busting the Scarcity Mindset, your guide to becoming a prosperity thinker. Chapter 9 that I've been covering today is about the metaphysical economy. And it is a way for you to rethink how you're utilizing your time. So, just as we're wrapping up this live stream today, think about your 24-hour period that all of us have worldwide. And if 8 or so hours is at work or doing whatever it is that you do to serve in your day, and we know that there's another 8 hour period that is ideally for sleep, then that leaves us 8 hours. Well, let's assume that 4 of those last 8 hours are taken up with getting ready and getting to and from the various places and dealing with food and that type of thing. That leaves us 4 hours every day. Well, let's just take 2 of those off the table because we know that stuff stretches into time, right? And especially if you're dealing with young children, and a lot of our clients are young families, those are the most favorite type of people for us to serve. That's still 2 hours left in every day. What are you doing with those 2 hours? So, to bring us full circle here, figure out how you learn best, because learning equals growth. And if it's reading, great. If it's listening, we will have an Audibles version of this book. If it's watching something, we have a YouTube channel and there will be lots of tips on there on how you can bust your own scarcity mindset. And if it's getting your hands on things, stay tuned and we'll talk about that as well. So, with that, I am grateful to be signing off and trusting that I will see you at bustingscarcitymindset.com.